Hello there, my name is Laini. Welcome to the world of aircrew. Today, I want to share with you a trip I made to Curacao, an island country in southern part of Caribbean, close to Venezuela. Before that, if you are presently an aircrew or formerly an aircrew, I'd like to invite you to join my Facebook group called The World of Aircrew. For your convenience, you may check out the link which I've included below. Welcome aboard. See you there. Hey, I've just started to learn how to shoot video, so please bear with me on the quality. On this episode of Curacao, I don't intend to make it as a travel guide, but more of my personal sharing so that you get a glimpse of my world. Alright. And you might ask me, why Curacao? Who knows where Curacao is? Curacao is in the southern part of Caribbean Sea, and it's quite close to Venezuela, just about 65 kilometers offshore of Venezuela. It was coincidentally one day when I was browsing through KLM route, I happened to see this Curacao. That sounds interesting. So I thought that since I had not been there before, I wanted to check it out. That's just the beginning. I want to show you a very interesting photo in a while. Stay tuned. So I went to Schiphol Airport, Amsterdam on standby for this flight to Curacao. But on that very day, the flight was so full. Just on the standby list itself, I saw about 25 people, and I was counting my locks. Hopefully I could get going, because if not, I would have to wait for another 2 more days. It wasn't a daily flight. Finally, they called out my name. I was so happy I could get going, but there wasn't any seat number assigned. I asked them, they said, you just go and the crew will arrange for you. I thought that maybe they would place me to be at the last row, which is normally the crew seat. When I went in, no, it wasn't. They didn't put me at the crew seat, but they placed me at the cruise takeoff and landing crew station seat, that hot seat. I actually sat there for about, that was like 9 to 10 hours flight from Amsterdam to Curacao. Quite an experience, wasn't it? That was memorable. Who on earth ever had a chance to actually travel to Curacao 9 to 10 hours sitting on the crew station seat, right? I had fun anyway. The crew were very nice. They gave me pillow, blankets, and I sat there throughout. There wasn't a single vacant seat at all. Fun experience. I booked a guest house to stay in Curacao. I don't know how you normally make your traveling arrangement, but if you want to take a look at how I did mine, check out the description. Check out the details in the description below. So this photo showed I arrived at Willemstad, the final stop of the bus, which I took from the airport terminal. After everybody had alighted, the bus driver asked me, "Where are you going?" I had no idea where I was going. I showed him the address, and he told me that a guest house wasn't anywhere nearby, but he was so kind. He offered to take me there. He actually delivered me to the doorstep of my guest house. See, kind people are everywhere. Hey, that was a beautiful guest house. Belonged to a Dutch lady. She actually lived in a home next to this guest house. She told me it all started with she living in this guest house, but as her business grew bigger, she had more requests from travelers. She decided to expand and moved out to live in the building next to this guest house. And the photo showed this is my room. I got this private room, which is pretty much like you're living in a home away from home feeling. And the next morning, she came over to cook me this breakfast. Wasn't that fabulous? I know you're probably going to ask me what's the name of the guest house. I don't remember. I was in Curacao, sort of on transit before I flew over to Bogota in Colombia. I just spent there for a night. The next morning, early in the morning after I had that sumptuous breakfast, I check out. As you can see, these were all that I carried with me. In fact, inside that roll-on cabin bag, I only had my laptop. So I was at this bus stop near to the guest house where I was staying at. I took a bus to Willemstad. That's where the action is. So upon arrival at Willemstad, I dragged along with these two bags, just walk around, had a view of the city of Willemstad. I basically got a chance to see everything I wanted to see. I ate at the restaurants in Willemstad. I checked out some buildings, some tourist attractions, some places. So I got a feel of how the vibe of the city. That's what I like to do whenever I go to a foreign city. I like to check out the vibes of the city. Then after I have had enough, I boarded a bus because I know that I had to board a bus from that very place which I alighted yesterday to get back to the airport terminal, right? So to Bogota was scheduled to depart at about 5 something in the evening. You see, every time when I make my traveling arrangement, I try to make my arrival time in the new city before dark so that I don't have to fumble in the dark looking for my accommodation. But unfortunately on that day, the flight to Bogota was delayed. Oh my God. You know, delayed until 10 something in the evening at night. 10 something. Oh no, you know, Bogota at that point of time wasn't really that much in a good book of safety. And I was estimated to arrive in Bogota in the midnight. I was a little bit concerned about what to do, right? And I remember on board the flight, I had this Bolivian passenger seated next to me. He was living in Venezuela at that point of time, and he told me, because I was asking around, I heard so much about Venezuela. I was so tempted to go, so I thought I just had a chat with him, and he told me, no, please don't come alone. This Venezuela is a very dangerous place. That's what he said to me. Until today, I have not thought of wanting to go to Venezuela on my own. But I guess if I had a, I'm still very tempted to go. Maybe one day. So the plane arrived in Bogota airport at midnight. I was so concerned. Midnight, first time in Bogota. I had heard so much about Bogota as being a not so safe city. So I was quite concerned actually, you know, about what to do. I walked around a little bit in the airport terminal to check out the vibes, look-see, and now I had to go to get back to arrive at my accommodation, right? So I booked an airport taxi, and it was quite a distance, actually about 40 minutes right before I arrived. Whew, saved. That's it for today. I hope you enjoy my first-hand sharing. This is quite an unusual YouTube video of all that you have seen, I suppose. This is more like a podcast, but in a video version. If you enjoyed listening to this, I hope you will subscribe, like, and comment below, will you? I will get back to you to tell you more in the continuation of this travel, Bogota, and a lot more to come. Stay tuned. Thank you for being with me today.